It's been 5 weeks since a Chicago woman lost her daughter to gun violence in Avalon Park. 5 weeks of mourning and questions, but no answers. Now she is demanding them from the mayor and the city's police superintendent. She shared her plea with CBS 2's Marisa Vedra.
Listen, my condolences to the family and all of that. It never ceases to amaze me that these same people who demanded the defunding of police said basically burn the whole system down, get rid of everything because of one incident in another city. Now, we have to just go back a little bit. There's 17,985 police departments in this country, working 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. Can anyone, please, you all have my email. My email is not hard to find. akintunde2@gmail.com. Anyone, please send me just one more video of a knee to the neck situation. Is there another video out there of another person that happening to? Just one more, because one reason this woman's daughter is dead, two reasons this woman's daughter is dead, because the emboldenment of criminals, because after the summer of Floyd and the Blackistanian Spring, and police being marginalized, and the criminal justice system, starting with the prosecutors, becoming very pro-criminal. So the guy who killed her probably was out on multiple bonds. But not to belabor this, is there another video? Because this is supposed to be the biggest problem. It's supposed to be how they do us. They just knee us in our necks. Is there another tape of any son man of that happening to any son man or son woman? You force the cops to all wear body cams. They're all wearing body cams now. And they have been for a few years. Is there another tape of that happening to anybody? Or was that just an isolated incident, a fluke that changed the world for the worse and created an environment where it's more likely, as we see now all across the country, for sisters to like this to end up dead from murder by sonmen?
It's been 5 weeks since a Chicago woman lost her daughter to gun violence in Avalon Park. 5 weeks of mourning and questions, but no answers. Now she is demanding them from the mayor and the city's police superintendent. She shared her plea with CBS 2's Marisa Vedra.
Just too much senseless killing in Chicago.
Demetric Brown's holiday is marked by grief after being forced to join Chicago's most painful club.
Now I'm a part of the other mothers who have lost their kids to senseless violence.
Her 30-year-old daughter, Latavia Brown, was on her way to a bank November 16th.
Just run an ambulance and now she's not here anymore.
This is the car she was riding in as her boyfriend drove.
I mean, yikes. And the boyfriend was driving, so that tells us a lot. She was an unintended victim. So she was dating a guy who either was in some kind of life where some other guys, this is how they play. This is how they do each other. This is how they do. This is what they do to each other in that life. These sonmen. Or mistaken identity or anything. Or just a dust up, a dirty looking traffic. It could have been a lot of things, but this was, wow. That's terrifying, man.
This is the car she was riding in as her boyfriend drove. We counted more than a dozen bullet holes, and that's just on the front windshield. There were twice as many casings littered and marked all across 83rd. Chicago police say a white Chrysler 300 pulled up behind the couple and opened fire. He survived. But
of course he survived. Of course he survived. Man, it's... Of course he survived.
He survived, but Latavia died at Jackson Park Hospital, where Brown says police let her say goodbye.
And they took the sheet over her head, and it was my baby. And it's just like she was just laying there asleep. And that's the worst thing a mother could experience, the loss of their child that way.
In the weeks since, Brown has put her focus on raising her 12-year-old grandson and 4-year-old granddaughter. But every day passes with no new information on who killed Latavia and why.
And to the mayor, I need answers. And to Superintendent Brown, I need answers.
Brown says detectives told her after the shooting that surveillance cameras in this area captured the suspect's car and they were able to get the license plate. But when they ran it, CBD told me they learned that that car was stolen 12 days before the shooting. Beyond that, there are no updates, and it is still under investigation. Brown knows she'll never get her daughter back, but she also feels someone should be held responsible for her death. So she's asking for it, and she won't stop.
I'm not going to be able to sit here and do nothing and be comfortable with what happened and not get justice for her. I got to get justice.
In Avalon Park, Marie Saavedra, CBS 2 News.
I didn't think I was going to die. I just said a prayer while I waited for the ambulance.
Well, that prayer was answered. One woman tells 10 TV that she is thankful to be alive after being shot in the head while stopped at a traffic light. Thanks for joining us tonight, everyone. I'm Yolanda Harris.
And I'm Andrew Kinsey. It happened last Monday, just off Parsons and Freebus in Columbus. 10 TV's Richard Solomon joins us live at studio tonight. And Richard, you spoke with her about what happened that day.
Well, Yolanda, Andrew, it's truly a blessing that this young woman is still alive today. She tells me she was shot in the temple. And I must warn you, some of these pictures of her injuries will be hard to see, but she wants you to see her. She wants you to hear her story, hoping this violence will stop.
It just happened out of nowhere.
The fact that this young woman is sitting here today is a miracle. She's recovering after she was shot in the head. She asked me not to use her name out of safety concerns, of course.
So this woman lives in a community where she was randomly shot while sitting in traffic. And she has to hide her identity. And y'all complaining about redlining? Man. I would redline y'all. If I owned some property, I would redline y'all. Your community, a woman could be sitting in traffic, get shot at random by someone she never laid eyes on before. And she's the one that has to hide. Has to, not give her name and lay low. And I would red line you, orange line you, yellow line you, blue line you, green line you, black line you. Redlining? We don't want this. No, we don't want this culture anywhere near us. Rainbow line, y'all. We taking the rainbow back. We rainbow lining, y'all.
She's recovering after she was shot in the head. She asked me not to use her name out of safety concerns, of course, and because the investigation is still ongoing. But this is her a week later.
Like I got hit right here in my temple. So I had this stent in my face. I still have to get surgery. I still have a bullet in my cheek.
On Monday, December 13th, she and her fiancé had just finished up eating at TJ's, just off Parsons Avenue. They left and were stopped at a traffic light. No one expected what happened next.
Literally out of nowhere, I just hear pop, pop, and I realized that I was shot.
She and her fiancé drove off and ended up crashing.
Now, the fiancé is a sunman. And we know how sunmen treat each other, how we do each other, what we do to each other. This is what we do to each other. Go to the gun memorial if you don't believe me. Or just join the live streams every Tuesday and Friday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll go to the gun memorial for you. So she had a sunman in the car with her. That changes the entire dynamic. It may not have been just random. Whenever you have a sunman in your car or anywhere around you, you are in danger from another sunman.
Literally out of nowhere, I just hear pop, pop, and I realized that I was shot.
She and her fiancé drove off and ended up crashing.
I didn't think I was going to die. I just said a prayer while I waited for the ambulance.
She is probably really, really lucky.
Dr. Keshav Deshpande has seen hundreds of shooting victims as a trauma surgeon at Ohio Health. He says last year, the hospital saw 476 gunshot wound victims. So far this year, that number is 500.
Remember I told you, these operating rooms, these ERs, the emergency rooms in these hospitals, these people, these doctors and these nurses, they work like they're in a war-ravaged region. Like there's a war going on, literally. They send the best doctors from all over the world to these inner cities to learn and get experience dealing with the type of wounds that you do see in war. So a lot of them start here in our Blackistanian inner cities, and then they're after, cutting their teeth and spending some time in these emergency rooms, they're equipped to go over the war because there's nothing that they will see in a war-torn region that they won't see in the Blackistan areas. That's shameful.
Trauma surgeon at Ohio Health. He says last year, the hospital saw 476 gunshot wound victims. So far this year, that number is 500.
This is a senseless thing where we're harming people, and the consequences of what happens when someone gets shot, it's not a guarantee that they're going to survive.
She wanted you to see this, to hear what happened to her, in hopes that it doesn't happen to anyone else.
I just pray that whoever did this is caught.
And she told me once that bullet is removed, she's hoping police can use it as evidence. And police are urging you to call if you have any information. Back to you.